Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, yodelers. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I'm your host today, Japheth, with
Jackie.
and
I am Lars.
and where are you from?
Far away.
And we also have.
Father Yodeler.
So Peter gave a clue what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Heavyweights, the movie. It has been 30 years since it's been released.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
This is a staple in our household growing up.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a movie. So for those who don't know the movie, it is a Disney 90s kid film, for sure.
Came in that era of like a lot of kid shows, a lot of kid groups, movies. You had like
Mighty
Mighty
Ducks.
You had like the Big Green. You had Heavyweights. Like there was a bunch of these like kid group movies.
Yeah.
Richie Rich was one.
They were fairly decent.
Yeah.
They're I would say they are a step up from Disney Channel films.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To where they're enjoyable, actually. So what IMDb has for the description: plump kids. We don't want to say fat.
Plump.
We went to plump camp. Plump kids are lured into joining a posh fat camp. Now we say fat.
Posh?
Posh. That is posh.
Posh.
I don't know
I say if
about
you go
posh.
to go to summer camp,
they
that's
were-
pretty posh.
They were
Yeah.
gonna get jet skis,
Yeah.
Whoa.
and they have the blob. What
The
says
Blob.
Plush.
Plush.
Well, they will plop.
They will plop on the posh fat camp blob. Sounds a nice tongue twister. So yeah, they're joining a posh fat camp with the promise of quick weight loss and good times, only to find that it is a woodland hellhole run by a psycho ex-fitness instructor, played by Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
So this movie came out 30 years ago in 95, and it's Ben Stiller's one of his first films. He
He was definitely on the rise.
yes. It was weird because like I remember when the DVD came out, he wasn't even on it. His
No.
name's not even on it. I was all
No.
like, did he not want his name on it? Did he be like, this isn't good.
Right.
I don't want my name associated with this. And so they have like Lars character
in the sandwich.
and the sandwich being held in this like awkwardly edited
Yeah.
like image of the kids holding
early
up.
90s Photoshop. is
Yeah,
great.
right.
Yeah.
So as Jackie has said, we grew up watching this.
Religiously.
It was fun to watch it. I enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite films as a kid. So I'm
Help create friendships too. Help us create lasting friendships with some people that we're still friends with.
yes. Yeah. It was one of those calls like, "Oh, you seen that film?" and you can just spout off the lines.
I feel like it's like the Nacho Libre of that time. Like,
No.
because like, I don't know, Nacho Libre was like big in my friend group, like where we would like quote it constantly. Felt like maybe that was what it was to you guys.
That's the same year Hercules came out, isn't it? 95?
No, Pocahontas came out in 95.
Oh, okay.
It's a very quotable movie. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
This
It is a
movie.
very-
It's lots of one-liners. So,
Yes.
as a kid, how would you rate this, Peter?
As a kid?
Yeah,
Oh man, I mean this was like
this is 5 Mickey bars for me as a kid.
10 out of 5. Yeah.
10 out of 5.
Lots of Mickey bars.
Lots of Mickey bars.
But
So much I could
we're gonna
go
put-
to the posh.
I'm gonna put some
Fat camp.
I'm gonna put some Twinkies on those Mickey bars.
As a parent, I give it the same just because it kept you guys occupied.
Just leave me alone. Whatever.
Go watch that movie again. I don't care.
Jackie, you were younger, but you did watch it a couple times in your youth. What did you think of it in your youth?
Because this is definitely not a girl movie.
I think I liked it just because you guys liked it. It was just fun.
Okay.
I mean, you guys watched it, so you didn't pick on me during that time.
It's true.
See, that's just like me. They didn't pick on me either.
You guys weren't bored.
We weren't bored and we didn't pick on you. All right, now as adults, is it a thumbs up or thumbs down to watch it? We'll start with Jackie.
I would say thumbs up.
Okay. Thumbs up, and we'll give the Mickey bars we think. Father Yodler.
It's mildly entertaining, you know. It's a good solid 3. You know, it's a good C.
There we go.
It's thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I say it's a thumbs up for nostalgia, a thumbs up for entertainment, thumbs down for like movie like story.
Sure.
Oh,
sure.
You watch it and you're like, there are
But you
so
don't-
many inconsistencies
You
here.
don't watch this movie for like, I'm looking for a deep dive, a deep heartfelt
Yes.
story about
this
these
is
fat
you're watching
kids
this with
losing
your
weight.
friends and having a good time.
That's the point of this movie.
Yeah,
is to-
that's why I'm giving out the warning. Don't go into this thinking this is a great
I'm getting
story.
Rocketeer.
No,
But-
it's
but-
not.
but
It's not
as-
known for the story. Just watch it for the one-liner laughs, the stupid characters that come out of this.
It's a
Yeah.
stupid movie.
But as an adult, I wasn't gouging my eyes out going, oh, they made me watch this movie. It wasn't, it was,
No.
I wasn't laughing hysterically, but it was, mildly
I
entertaining.
mean, it's like
Yes.
an hour and a half movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear what your inconsistencies are. I want to.
There were just some things that popped up where I'm like, that's horrible. Like this messaging is bad.
Like give the kid who's never driven a go-kart before the job of driving the go-kart in the
Yeah.
big race.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
Can't hope, you know?
that's right.
We're hoping.
and so here we are. The movie starts with Jerry. He's a 11-year-old fat kid in Long Island, seems like, right? It's back east.
Yes.
It's green.
Long Island.
So
Yeah.
it's green. And his dad ambushes him with a video, like an infomercial sales pitch. And I was like, wow, people actually went around and sold people stuff with videos in their homes.
And
Oh,
the,
yeah.
and the salesman, that's the villain of the new Captain America movie.
It's fun. This is what great about the
Yeah.
film is that you see people going, oh, that's that guy from there. Oh, that's
Yep.
the guy from there. Because it's been 30 years of different actors that started out and
And these are their small roles that they did
Yeah.
to
they
get
filled
started.
in. Yeah.
And you think, oh, those are big actors. And you're like, no.
Back
At
then,
then, they were nobodies.
Yeah.
you were just here for my story. Jer Garner, he is my, no. So you get his story. You show him at like high school and you just see him struggling. Like,
Throwing the ball.
He's trying to throw the ball over the fence. He's chasing after the bus, which I'm like, all right, that bus is leaving really quick. None of the other buses are filled up. And it's like everyone's just barely leaving. It's like, what was Gerald doing
Right?
before
Why was he taking so much time to miss his bus?
to miss his
Yeah.
bus? So I was all like, maybe either the bus left early or he was running. But, and he's like barked at by a dog. Like he's having a really bad day.
It was.
Yeah.
And then
But he got refreshing lemonade.
the lemonade thing was like, here's this money. And he starts drinking.
He paid
He
for it.
paid for it. I thought, whoa, man, it's only 10 cents. You're throwing those bills down there like it's nothing.
Give me the picture.
So yeah, he gets ambushed with it, and he's like, "Oh wow, this camp's really cool." And then he finds out it's a fat camp, and
Fat cat.
I love how they pause it at the best
where
moment.
the butt cracks
With the
sticking
butt
out.
crack, yeah. The kid's throwing him in the water, and there's a kid's butt crack right there. It's like perfect timing.
I like how he has the comeback at his dad, and he's all like, "Fat camp, why did you go? You're fatter than I am."
Oh,
I was like, "Oh, that's such a teenager thing that I'm so mad. I'm going to just throw you under the bus." And
Yeah.
we need to nip this in the bud, son. So yeah, and then the next thing you have is he's on a plane, and you get introduced to Keenan. I love how Keenan comes in, and he's all like,
You
"Hey,
going to fat camp?
going to fat camp?" And I was like, "So this is Keenan Thompson. You may know him from SNL. He's been on there for like 20 years. He was on
Yeah.
All That, and Keenan and Kel show, and you saw him in Mighty Ducks with the knuckle puck,
and
right?"
he's so enjoyable. His
Oh,
first
yeah.
appearance, you go, I like this kid, you know? He's just really a likable, and he's likable to this day.
He is, and it was fun, like, just as quick questions like, are you going to fat camp? And he's like, why would you say that? Because you're fat. And it's all like,
that your dad?
Is that your dad? And he's like, why would you say that? He's fat too. Just like most straightforward, best logic comedy
Yeah.
right there.
That is some charisma for that kid to go up to a complete stranger and be like, "You go to fat camp?" Man, that's bold.
Imagine I do that and be like, hey, are you on Jenny Craig? Or like, you look like you're on Jenny Craig. Why would you say that? You're fat. And like, I'm saying that because I'm on Jenny Craig too, like.
It's better coming from somebody that may also
I
need
kind
it.
of had that similar experience, but yeah.
It's funny, like, how forward he is. And he takes him in under his wing and is like, I'll show you how to do things. And like, that's really cool. Like, and it shows like how welcoming everybody is at that camp. And so,
Yes.
and you see everybody meet up and everyone's the same and everyone's just having fun. And you're like, wow, I want to be part of a group of friends like that where
Right.
everyone feels accepted for who they are.
And
And
everyone's different. They come from different places, different backgrounds, but they're all united.
united and being fat and going to fat camp.
Yeah.
Um,
I love he's like, I snuck in some Oreos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
know.
that's fun. I love that. Like, mom mentioned the bus as they're driving to camp.
Oh yeah.
Where
What a perfect shot they scoped out to get all those
Fast
food.
places in one shot there.
I love the commentary. You see the bus and you don't see them talking, but you hear the voices of them like, "Come on, Pat, pull over. Let's get some fast food." And he's like, "All right," and then like,
swerves.
psych." That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's something as like adult you would do, like, oh, we're going this way. Yeah, we're getting ice cream. No, mom said no ice cream. No, sorry, I gotta follow what your
was
mom
great.
said. Yeah, it was a good moment. You
It's a very relatable moment too.
yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I think as kids every kid has been in that situation where they see all the fast food or the places they want to go and eat. They're like, "Oh, can we go here? All right." No. You gotta go home and
you're
eat
pulling
spinach.
in and you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go there. Instead you end up going to Office Max. You're like, oh, I thought we were gonna go to McDonald's to play in the playground. Nope, dad needs to get some paper for work or something like that.
Exciting stuff.
Exciting stuff, adult stuff, right? Getting some paper for work. Yeah, and then you go through the entrance, and this is where it's so I am baffled by this for the last 30 years.
Oh, yes.
The
this
kid, Simon, the big kid,
They
the
make it-
fattest kid in camp,
Yeah.
he's waving a shovel and he's just like, you got this doom sound. So you have this like, yeah, we're going to camp, and then there's like, do this drudging.
They're making it sound like he's the villain.
right.
Or he's just warning
He's
them.
just it was more of like,
That's how I saw it. Is
I
he's
saw it as a
just
warning.
warning.
The foreshadowing, but it always bothered me. Is like, did he
Same
know?
here.
Did he not? And
Same here.
So yeah, they go in there, they get into Camp Chipmunk or the little bunk, and that's where Jackie goes. Like Gerald is like, oh, I snuck in some Oreos, and it's the best.
Oh, it's the best scene. I think every kid's like, I want that.
Everybody chips in, and you guys have a treasure trove of like,
candy.
Chipmunks, download. No.
and the music they're playing with it just enhances everyone getting stuff. and-
Kid, get these salamis off my back.
Salami Sam. He's awesome. He was great. That like leads to the like one of the best lines of the movie later on. But yeah, and then they show them like doing the blob, and then
Yeah.
They're
you know
having fun.
they're playing what is it? The classic Strauss's Blue Danube. I love like little like segments of that song really made me fall in love with classical music.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Not Fantasia.
Because-
watching fat kids jump on a
because
giant
when- yeah,
blob.
exactly.
I was like, I want to do that. That is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
Because you have like something that's like very traditional with the music and classical music, but then you have just like fat kids having fun.
They turned a graceful waltz into, like they used it.
Yeah.
And they turned something not so graceful, like beautiful. I
Well,
think.
he got beautiful fat children flying to the air. It's beautiful.
You see that big guy go down, you're like, that kid's gonna fly.
That's Pat.
Was that Pat?
Well, there's one where there's Pat and Tim.
Yeah.
So, and then the last one has the really big kid.
And so, yeah, you see them having fun that first day, and then you're like, wow, this is great. I want to go
It's
here.
gonna be a fun adventure.
And then you get Ben Stiller's parents. They are the owners of Camp Hope, and they introduce
the actors.
the
have
actors.
been-
Not the characters, but yeah. So yeah, they introduce themselves and they let the audience know that, or the camp members, that the camp is changing owners because of bankruptcy. I thought Jerry Stiller's character
Rant?
was great.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
funny.
I'm in that movie. I'm always so sad to see them leave that early on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because even in the video and everything, they just seem like, oh, they'll be fun, and then they're cut out right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Filed for chapter 9 bankruptcy. What are you gonna show?
Nothing.
One last word of advice: never let anyone sign your checks.
And you know what? That line has stuck with
It
me.
absolutely has.
If there was any wisdom to come through that was
That's the important.
that one was
right
very
there.
important.
Never let anyone sign your check.
Because you learn about all these like celebrities that lose all their wealth because their accountant stole their money. So yeah, at that point they leave, and then Ben Stiller's character comes in and introduces himself, and I think it's one of the best lines I found going around this time watching it was like, I was raised by private tutors and was never around children. I think this will be a great opportunity to
it's-
learn.
I'm looking forward to working with children for the first time.
Yes, I was like, oh, this is
I
setting up.
chuckled at that.
For somebody who's got children, it's like, oh, we're in for a world of hurt right
Yeah,
here.
This is not gonna go well.
And then, yeah, so they introduced it, and everyone gets that panic of like, oh no, we're in trouble. They're actually going.
What are we gonna do?
I love the one kid at the end as they're like, as Ben Stiller's leaving and he's high fiving, and then they pan out to the audience, and you hear one kid goes, I want to go home.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was great.
I was like, that-
great.
That was awesome, and ending the scene.
That edit in there was perfect.
I want to go home. Yeah. Yeah, and then you get the opening sequence, and like they're like he's doing this heavenly, it's
Well,
like,
we get our introduction to Lars.
oh
Yes.
yeah, Lars. He was the the
yes.
villain for like the second part of the film, or the first half of the
First
second
half
part
of the film is Lars is the villain.
is the villain, and yes,
But he's the funnest character. His accent is just spot on, perfect for just enjoying.
I loved his line when he's like telling the kids, he's like, if you hear a loud alarming
I have
sound,
deviated septum.
Septum.
he's like, if you hear something,
Don't be
alarmed.
alarmed.
I'm fine.
And it's snoring, and you're just like, oh, that's hilarious.
Excellent. Best character. I kept thinking, oh, it's going to be Ben Stiller. No, it's Lars.
Lars is the
Lars-
best character.
he steals it.
He
He-
steals every scene he's in.
Yes.
He absolutely does.
I think the only time he doesn't steal it is at the end at the Apache relay, when he's like in charge of the
right.
of the paintings and
Yes.
part of the IQ. But yeah, Lars, great character. Every time I watch it now, I just see my father-in-law when he was in the 90s. He looks just like him, and I just kind of chuckle and like, oh, it's my father-in-law right there with a fake Austrian accent. But yeah, he's one. I love the each other's
See, this
name.
is how I thought you were going to. I thought that's how you were going to start the show. It's going to be like, how about we play a game to learn
Oh,
each other's names?
Yeah, we already know each other's names. Silence. Yeah, that was great introduction to the shift of like, this is no longer a fun
Yeah.
environment. It's not just the camp. The culture has changed, and then they show them working out the first day, and they're all in the sliding. I think it's hilarious.
Slide.
Yeah, the slide. Oh, I'm feeling skinny already, Tony. That's.
Yeah.
I like how they're sliding on a sloped hill.
I know, right?
The instructors get the flat platform.
Yeah.
Everybody else is on a slope hill, and you're just seeing the uncoordinated children sliding back and forth. Which, as a kid, I would go in the kitchen and go slide, slide, slide.
With socks on?
With
Yeah.
socks on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know. I saw that as a kid, and I was like, I want to do that.
I do that. That just never. That exercise
Never
never really
stuck.
stuck. No, that one didn't
No
work.
one does that anymore. Let's bring it back. Matterhorn Yodelers workout.
Slide.
We're gonna create our
Peter
own-
will have the Austrian accent.
Oh yes, yeah. I'll be your accent person.
Oh, and then you get they're in the lake. Or no, we do cameras.
Cameras.
They do the camera.
They
Oh,
take it.
they're doing like this, like they're getting their stats, their body
measurements
competence, and
Oh,
that was
okay.
kind of fun. The kids acting like kids, and that was what was fun as a kid watching. It's like kids sticking their finger in their nose, or putting the before sign on their butt, and just kind of like trying to make the adults laugh or break character, and it was fun just to see. Again, Lars steal the scene again with
You broke up my camera.
get your fat finger down. Just an adult that's managing kids that are not their own for the
Yes.
first time. It feels like, what are you doing? Don't do that. And then you get more of that at the lake.
don't drink the water. He peed in the water.
Don't pee in the water. Yeah, that was great. And then he meets Nurse Julie, which I find with Nurse Julie, I think she's an odd character.
She definitely stands out.
Why do you say she's odd?
She just makes these statements where you're like, that was weird. It's just I'll go into it later, but like
Okay.
him and Julie, they have the funniest line I think in the movie is the body system.
Yes.
Shouldn't you be watching the children? And he's like, don't worry, I've got them on the body system.
The body system.
Yes. Body. And so like from there,
That,
I remember going to scout camp and
That
we're
was-
like,
that
oh,
was-
we got to be on the body system. And
Yeah.
we would all
everyone
say
did-
that.
yep,
It was
absolutely.
and everyone laughed. And like you were waiting for someone to go, what's the body system? And you're like, and then you would do it.
and everyone would laugh because it's funny.
Because it's a fun inside joke. And so that was a fun, the lake, and then you see Salami Sam. What is it? Did they do the raid? Is that around that time? I can't remember. It's in the early
It's
part.
around that time.
So there's a point where Tony comes back in and like they do a raid on the stash, and they have the snitch that used to be in the Chipmunk, and like it was just fun to see Tony like give a hug to
Keenan.
yeah, and just saw like he's like, oh, my man's packing over here, and he opens up the Pez and they
Pez.
come out with like bullet sounds.
I just think that's funny. He's stashing a Pez dispenser in his sock.
Yeah.
I thought that was.
That's when you know you're at a, you're like, I gotta have candy hidden in my sock. That's a new level right there.
Yeah.
Of all things, a Pez dispenser. Like, what do you get from a Pez anyway?
Pez is not.
It's not great.
It's garbage candy.
But it was
really
popular
is.
during that time, I would say.
The toy aspect of Pez is what's cool.
Give it
but
to a
the
kid
candy
now.
is
Kids don't even want
garbage.
that. They're like just breaking teeth. But yeah, you get that fun interaction between Tony and then the actor that plays Goldberg in
From the Mighty
Ducks. That was
Um,
kind of fun. The
Roy? Is it Roy.
Josh.
Josh. There
That's
we
his
go.
name.
Josh.
His name is Josh.
Roy is somebody else.
It was funny to see Josh, go back and forth. He's kind of the smart mouthed guy, and you're the comedian,
Yeah.
and what was it? Tony was asking for whose food is this, and
who brought the contraband.
and originally it was supposed to be a dirtier joke, and they dubbed over. If you look, you'll see Josh's mouth moving, and
Oh,
it's not
really?
Seymour Butts.
Oh.
It's supposed to be Peter Fitz, and so you can word it yourself, like in your head. What's
right.
how he's saying, like, but like, who's Seymour Butts? I used that line so much as a kid. This movie just gave so much ammunition. I'm probably until I hit like Happy
it
Gilmore.
makes you wonder: was Disney in on this project all along,
I don't
or did they come in?
I think they
at
came
the
in
end?
At the
later and
edited
was
things were like,
Yeah.
It softened it up some.
yeah.
we want to put this on our Disney Channel, and I don't know if we can get this passed.
It was. I mean, yeah. There's some moments. You know, they cut it up a little bit. So yeah, Josh goes away because he challenged Tony, and then they have like
Tony
the
kicks him out.
yeah. Then they have the MVP baseball game, which I kind of zipped through. I just don't like that baseball game. I think the funniest part is when Cody gets hit with a baseball.
The coach counselor dude, like he's like this like guy that's evil for no reason.
He's just a jerk.
Yeah.
He's just like this evil adult.
It's
that's
just more of,
evil
like,
for no.
I just-
I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win, and that's probably my biggest critique is that that's where it ends with him
being the villain.
Yeah.
I really appreciated the kid that was able to swing the bat and hit himself on the backside with the head.
Cody.
I thought that was amazing.
Really
I
good
thought
physical
that,
comedy.
That was very well done.
Because anybody that's played sports and that's not coordinated has had those moments where you're like kick a soccer ball and you kick it backwards. You're like, how did I kick it backwards? It was kind of like that moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when Simon hits the ball and it like goes far, but it hits Cody. It like ricochets off the bell and hits Cody. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I know where they got that from. Waterboy. They got it from this movie,
Right.
Because the director of this film writes or directs a lot of like the Adam Sandler films. So I kind of remember like
Really? It's the same mentality.
same, yeah. So I was all like, oh, they did that same joke there. They just repurposed it with the professor that from Waterboy. So yeah, that was kind of that makes me chuckle every time I see that scene.
I like the scene where like the nurse is commenting. He's like, "What is going on out there? We're percusizing.
That line was great.
We're percusizing."
These kids have such great sense of humor.
Yeah.
They have great delivery. They sell it. Like they
Yes.
sell it. Like every single one of these kids.
It wasn't overacting. You couldn't tell.
Right.
I'm trying to think.
Like
if there
it
was,
honestly, it felt like my thought when I was rewatching it was, this feels like a movie. A bunch of kids, they're like, we're gonna make a movie in summer camp, and they made this movie at summer camp. Like that's what it feels. It feels like a
Yeah.
bunch of kids just goofing around, having fun, making a movie, kind of like an Adam Sandler movie.
It is.
It's on the edge of teetering into total disaster
Right.
movie, but it stays upright the,
the
whole
one-liners
time.
pull you back in and keep you going. All right, I'm entertained. That was funny. You know, like you said, the percusizing was the only thing that really I thought saved that whole scene.
Well, like you
besides
got
the kid getting hit.
the ball get bouncing off of several things, and then doop doop. You know, it's great.
It was great physical comedy. What else we got? Yeah, when Josh leaves, they play the telephone game, the rumors. That kind of shows like your youth. You're like, yeah, I heard Josh is in a park in Central Park, New York, with the man with no arms.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, the cafeteria
Oh,
guy.
the guy
Yeah.
that's smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and then you get the classic line in this movie where it's like Ben Stiller's character comes in on the microphone. It's like lunch has been canceled due to a lack of hustle. Deal with it, you know. it was just like, how can you? Whenever like lunch is canceled, I'll be like, deal with it. Just there's so many one-liners. Then we head into the dance. The
Yes.
dance was fun. I would always think of the Saturday Night by Bay City Rollers, that song, whenever I was getting ready for going to the dance.
SATURDAY.
Hey, you know, like it was fun, and it shows you that awkwardness of boys on one side and girls on the other side, and then, you know, jumping in. That movie inspires me when I see like an empty dance floor to get people out there.
Oh,
and you
totally.
got to be Tim and just to get out there and dance.
I
and,
made a connection with Pat and Tim. I go, Pat and Tim, if you combine those two personalities, that's me. Where like I am naturally an introvert like Pat, but when I choose to be an extrovert, I'm like Tim.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh yeah, this is like put them together, and that's my personality. And I've realized that when watching the dance scene, was I was like, yeah, that's totally me.
Like, what are you doing? We're dancing.
We're just dancing. We're going for it.
We got a case of boogie fever. Yeah, there was a funny line in there when the girls were complaining, when they're all like, why don't they just lose weight? And you hear this savage line. The girl goes,
That was so good.
why don't they lose weight? I don't know. Why don't you show them how to throw up after every meal? I was like, whoa, that was dark. That was a savage.
That's the girl
bird.
world, though.
I was like, yeah, I was all
That's
like,
girl world.
that's girl. I was like, oof, man, girls know how to cut deep.
Yeah.
Guys are like, oh, I'll hit the surface. Girls are like, I'll do a dagger.
You gotta be strong in the
You
girl
know,
world.
this is the guys putting his like, hey captain, hey captain, you know, like that.
It's silly
that's the
humor.
Guy, that's guys ripping on each other. Where it's like girls, it's all like, I'm gonna take the deepest, worst part of who you are and bring it out.
I'm gonna weaponize it to hurt you. I was watching this time around. I was like, dang. Ooh.
And I'm watching going, oh snap!
And my wife goes, that's me. And I'm all like, I know, I'm scared. You scare me. You get the scene. Wait. I love how they end up we were talking about this before this, when the dance ends, when Tony breaks it up
yes.
because they're having fun. And it's
He goes, put away the foot trays. The insects will be out soon.
the
and
way
I go,
the way he says that is
The
great.
insects will be out soon.
yeah, he says it like really creepy.
It's almost like he's like jaded for more. It's like, better get some sleep, man. It's gonna be a rough one.
Yeah.
It's just this like, where are you? Like
Yeah.
this
Like-
character of a person it's too funny.
Well, it's just like he took it very serious about the food trays, and I was like, man, reminds me of like church leaders sometimes.
You're like, is this really that important?
Yeah.
After the dance, they break into Tony's place
To look for candy.
to look for
You
candy.
know, growing up watching that scene gave me so much anxiety, even though I had seen the movie so many times.
Well, you got the silent kid. He's coming. He's coming.
Yeah, who makes the silent kid to watch? That was the worst idea. You get like somebody like Josh
Right.
or Keenan's character in there, somebody who could speak.
But like, I would purposely skip through that scene because I'm like, oh, they're gonna get caught. They're
Being-
gonna get caught.
yeah, and then there's the fart joke in there.
Yeah.
That is a fast spreading fart because the sound went and he goes like immediately on the other side of the house. He's all like, "What?"
You gotta say it's gotta be a chunky fart because you can see him like Ben Stiller's character like pushing it away. He's like,
Right.
yeah, wafting through, and I was. I've done that a few times. You go in a room, you're like, oh my goodness, we need to change a diaper. This is just
It's like musky.
And
Yeah.
probably, which leads in probably to the weirdest part of probably the movie is when they find out that their food's being snuck in when they find somebody in the bathroom.
That bathroom
No.
stall is ridiculous.
So they're outside and they're like, do you hear that? That's a food wrapper.
Food wrapper.
And they go there, and you see this kid. You can see from his waist down with the door up. You're like, who designed these doors? To where you're like,
What's the point
I'm
of
in the
door?
bathroom. I'm taking a number
Don't look at my
two.
face while I'm pooping.
I've got complete privacy because you can't see my face. It was just like, how embarrassing. Like, I always feel weird when like, oh man, there's a foot up there. Like, they can see my shoes. No, these people can see your waist down. I was like, who designed this door? Who thinks this is an appropriate thing? I was like, man, it must have been
90s.
weird in the
It was
90s
the
and below.
90s, man.
90s
It was
camp.
The 90s.
Like I've
man.
been to like I've been on like old barracks and stuff where they had like troughs for men to go to the
Yes.
bathroom in, and you're just all like, oh boy, this
I
is
just
different.
remember as an adult, so I went to Washington and like in Pike Place, I went to the bathroom there, and like So the bathroom stalls are like kind of short, and you could just see like people's heads walking.
It's the
by.
opposite.
Yeah, and I'm just like sitting on the toilet, like covering myself, and I'm like, please don't look.
What's up?
Yeah.
I'm vulnerable right now. So what? It's just a scene. Like, it takes you out for just a moment, going, why is there no door there? Like, why is the door cut in half? Like, it's not like one of those swinging doors, like going into mom's kitchen where you have one side that's open or one side. It just seems so silly. But yeah, they develop an underground like network to get junk food brought by the guy that snitched them out. And I love the like, I want candy. That was such a fun
Yeah.
song.
Great song to put in there.
Oh, that was just too much fun. And then they establish that they're sneaking in food, and then they're doing like a weigh-in.
Oh, wait, before we get to the weigh-in, there's this scene with Tony that I thought was hilarious. It's where he's on the nail bed, and he's getting sledgehammer with it.
This is the level 18.
You'll all be doing this by Labor Day. It's like, holy cow, that's crazy.
It was-
You're going to lay on a bed of nails, and we're going to sledgehammer ice on your stomach by Labor Day.
Do it to it, Lars. And then he slams him with
I love
that.
it when the kids are like chasing the cows. They're like, I'm hungry.
What are you gonna do? Like, one's got like a tennis
Yeah.
racket.
I know, right? They're going to tenderize that meat right
Yeah, they kind of build up the like, yes, these kids are hungry and they're desperate, and that's where they break into Tony's.
Well, and then like there was a scene where like Tony's on the run, like while the kids are in the cabin or his house.
Is it the devil log?
Yes, and he picks. That was so ridiculous. He's like, "Oh, you devil log!" He picks up a log.
He's like running with it. And you're like,
Yes.
Ben Stiller's in phenomenal shape for this movie.
He is, yes, absolutely.
Like, Mother Yoder said that he was like, somebody put like his head on somebody else's body, and it's like he was in phenomenal shape for this. Yeah, that it's a fun. There's these fun sequences that get you to the weigh-in,
The weigh-in.
and
yes.
then you have the the moment of truth. Is percusizing working? And then there's the cheating, and then
Right.
we find out it's not, because everyone.
This is when the movie kind of takes a turn. We're getting out of the fun aspect
Yes.
of it to the more serious.
it gets more serious with little moments. And yes, Tony really takes over being the villain and the
Yes.
comedic aspect of his overacting. And this is where like Lars kind of
He takes a step
he takes a
back.
step
Yeah.
back. Yeah, I say this is like the second half of the second
It really
part of
is.
the movie. And yeah, I love the little Tony talking to himself. He's like,
Little Tony.
he's,
It's not your fault. It's their fault. You're right. It is their fault. It's their fault. It's your fault. You have lost.
and he turns
you
around and
have-"
talks to them.
Yeah.
And they're punished. He was like, "We will all do a 20-mile hike."
I just love I love the whole interaction with Kenny the cameraman, where he's all like, "All right, turn on the camera. Turn off the camera."
Oh yeah.
I like, Josh, get up out here, and he like, it's like, all right.
Get off the scale.
You just see like, this isn't working. I'm mad. Yeah, that was it. That moment really does shift into like crazy Tony, and they go and they do that hike. They start into the hike. It's just the chipmunk, nobody else in
Nobody
camp.
else.
Just the
Chipmunks.
chipmunk
Just the
group.
chipmunks.
It's kind of like the classrooms in Boy Meets World, where there's really only 9 students.
Right.
So they're the 9 of them from Chipmunks are supposed to represent the whole camp. I guess everybody else is doing well.
Yeah, everyone
Chipmunks,
else is losing
not so
weight.
much. And so yeah, they go on this hike, and they come to the conclusion that they need to do something.
Right.
Because Tony's is acting crazy. He's, like doing this yoga, and then like Cody's like,
Repulse the monkey. I love that part.
and Cody's like, I want to have fun, and he's like, and then he does this little like acrobatic like gymnastic thing on the side of the cliff, and he's like, all right, Cody, come. No, yeah, Sam goes, I want to have fun, and then he's like, come on out here and join me, and Cody has the best face for it. He's like, yeah, I'll be right out there. Ooh, like, no, thank you. In my mind, it would have been great if Cody like does jump out there and miss it.
That's dark.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm losing it. It's just a really dark thought. It's like, wow, that would have really ruined the movie at that point.
Yeah.
Um,
It took a dark turn right there. 2 people just died.
It went South Park. Yeah.
so yeah, they come up with a plan. They're like, all right, we need to trap Tony, and then they do this like, you know what, Tony, we're on your side, and they trick him doing like the atomic sit-up, where, you know, like, I bet you can't do a sit-up with your eyes are closed, and like Tony's like, well, I will blow your mind with the mysteries of your abdominal muscles.
Right.
And, you know,
So, like, you do realize they're setting you up.
Yeah.
Like, no one actually believes that you can't do a sit-up with your eyes closed.
and they do the whole trick where they like moon him, and he like sits up, and he's in Josh's butt, and then he like chases after him. And you know, I love Josh's line where it's like, oh, my hamstring. And then Ben Stiller's like, you just joined 78% of America who failed to stretch before physical activity.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, man, he just nails being this like psychotic fitness person
Yeah.
that's so obsessed. So, yeah, you know, they trap him there, and they have this genius idea of like, we are now going to kidnap the camp counselor or owner.
Well, so there's one line that I love that one of the main kid, I forgot his name.
Gerald
comes running to the counselors, and he's like, and the counselor's like, oh, we haven't come up with a plan. And he's like, oh, we came up with a plan on our own. And the girl's like, that's cute. And he's like, yeah, whatever.
Like, okay, lady.
You're antagonizing me. I don't have time
I
for
don't
that.
know why you're talking to me.
And so yeah, the Gerald brings the kids or the adults to where they've got
They've
Ben
got him in
Stiller's character
prison.
in prison in a
Electric-
shack.
Yeah.
And you know, this is where I get where Julie's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Is like
She's okay with this.
she's okay. She
She's
does this
okay
like
with
everyone's like, "Oh my gosh."
So
And
they get people to cheer for stuff like this.
she
And
goes
she's all like, this is great.
she says, "This is great," and I go, "Whoa, this girl is nuts." She's all for like, I'm all right with kidnapping people and imprisoning them because it serves the better good. I was like, that was a huge red flag. I'm sorry, I'm in all like Love Is Blind mode,
Oh,
and like you're
yeah.
looking for red flags left and right, and this girl was like throwing them up here. Yeah. And so, like, they decide, you know what? The adults are like, this is a good idea.
Right.
This is the part where I'm going, what adult sees another adult captured by children and goes, you know what? I think we could get away with this without murdering him by the end of the camp season.
Right,
That's the part where I'm like, you lose most adults in that moment. So, yeah, at that point, the kids are free from Tony.
They're like, we're going to make it our own camp.
It's cute. It's like Camp Nowhere,
Yeah.
you know, another Disney film
Yeah.
that time. And, you know, they take Lars and they tie him up to the tree. I love
That was a great
Oh.
scene.
The honey and
the honey.
bear.
Bears love honey.
He's like, oh no. And then he starts screaming. He's got a great scream.
It was a great. Oh, I love before he starts screaming when
I hate you.
Philip comes.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Philip
it's
comes
like-
up after they leave, and he's like, "Oh, I'll give you candy," and he just punches him as hard as he can. The little kid punches him in the groin, and you can just see.
That's been edited. If you watch it on TV, it's different.
Oh, is it?
He pulls his leg hair on television.
Oh
But
no!
if you
Like
watch
on
the
Disney Plus, they show
on
him
Disney,
punching.
correct. On Disney
Yeah.
Plus, they show the movie. He gets punched. But like, if I remember watching it on Disney Channel, and they just pull his leg hair.
Oh,
Well,
gosh.
they still do it in the movie. But
Yeah.
they must have just cut it
He's
out
talking about back in the
after.
day on Disney Channel,
On
and I
Disney
kind of
Channel.
do remember that. But it was funny just to see that kid.
Because I remember
just
watching
nail him.
like when we got the DVD, going like, "Whoa!" I remember him getting knocked in the nuts.
So that was fun, and then they have this huge party again.
Oh.
You know, with all the food. I
Yeah,
love
you
Camp
got-
MPP.
Who paid for this?
I guess
Oh,
I think it's Josh. Josh closed down the Sizzler. You know.
That's true. He shut down the Sizzler.
It's funny
that's
because
right.
they're like, yeah, the other like Camp MVP or whatever is all like,
They're watching them.
yeah, and
I
they're
think they're
like,
cheating.
I think they're cheating.
No,
Duh.
no, duh, dude. You know, it's like, boy, you are.
Aren't
They played that
supposed to be
dumb
on
jock.
diets? I think they're cheating. What?
As you see one guy with like a 12-foot sub going, oh yeah. But that scene, you're going, that's got to be the most fun scene
Ever.
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
And then you
Oh,
get,
let's do the scene again.
and then just you see like with the marshmallows and like again they play the
Chocolate
waltz.
syrup poured all over.
I was like,
and-
I would love to do something like that. Like as a kid, just make a huge mess and just be,
Party.
oh man, it was so, it's like, oh man, that's the dream.
It looked awesome.
It looks so much fun.
It
As an
was the
adult, you're like,
best
what a
party
mess.
ever.
Why
Yes.
would you do
Yeah.
Who
that?
was gonna clean
Who is
that?
going to clean that?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be sick in the morning,
yeah.
and I'm not going to help you.
It's like,
You're going to have to clean yourself up. Like, it's so funny how you change your
true.
perspective.
I remember like as a kid, like a group of us, we had like extra whipped cream and stuff like in the spray can, and so we like would like run around and chase each other with it, and we were all covered
No, we didn't.
in.
No, we wouldn't do that.
No, like with my friends.
Oh, okay, I was like, I don't do that.
No, with my friends. So like we would like attack each other with like whipped cream, and then it would all like melt away, and we'd just smell like rotten milk. And so I can't imagine.
That morning's got to reek.
And so I just remember after we're like, this is a mistake.
Don't put you had a don't put Twinkies
Yes.
on your pizza moment.
It was don't fight with spray with spray.
Yeah, Keenan has
cream.
one of the best lines. If you want to make friends from someone from the 90s that watched this film, you say that line.
don't put Twinkies.
What did we
on your-
learn? And if you say, don't put Twinkies on your pizza, it shows you're like, oh, I'm a 90s kid and I'm cool.
Yeah.
And like I've said that, and somebody like, I look around, somebody's like, they like, you make eye contact, like, we're best friends now.
Yeah.
It's like wearing the same shoes, like in the second grade. Like, yes, we're
We
the
are one.
same.
We are one.
Yeah. There's another red flag with Julie. Her and Pat.
flag.
Like Pat's like, oh man, I should get down there for that food. And Julie's like, no, don't leave me.
Stay with me.
Stay with me. And he's like, okay. We all know Pat got some that night, you know. But it was one of those things, like, you don't think of that as a kid, but you just like, just stay with me. It's like, as a kid, you're just like, man, she's just so controlling and stuff. But yeah, that was another red flag. I was like, Julie's crazy. Like, she's like controlling, like, the like, yeah, I'm okay with kidnapping people and like, yeah, no.
Well, then she's okay with this party too.
Right?
She's complicit.
She's a nurse.
right.
She's all worried about their health, and they're taking way too much garbage at that point.
Yes.
So, yeah, it would seem like an epic night, and then the movie really turns.
It turns to the
Oh.
positive.
It turns to the positive, which means it's kind of boring at that
Yeah.
point. The
this
movie
is where
kind
it
of
dies down.
where they're like, we're gonna better ourselves, and it's kind of inspiring.
It's like this is the message of the movie right here. Everything else after this point.
You have to hit rock bottom
right.
before you can make a change. You have to kidnap the counselor.
Yeah.
Right.
and then hit rock bottom and then make the change. And then we
Good
have
morning, children.
then they have the psychological warfare of Josh, where
Yes.
they're antagonizing Ben Stiller and they electrocute him
Oh yeah.
off of a bug zapper. I was like, how much voltage is going through that bug zapper?
Man. Right?
Big bugs.
Big bugs there, apparently. Australian size, I guess. Yeah, and so we get Parents' Day, and I love Gerald's dad. He's like, you look the
Exactly
same.
the same.
I had the same thing when I saw my recruiter after coming back from boot camp. He's all like, oh, hey, you look exactly the same. How do you go for 3 months and look exactly the same? And I'm just like, I'm really good at not doing what
Aging?
they... Yeah, I'm really good at not doing... like getting in trouble. I'm really good at having a low profile. And so like it kind of reminded me of that kind of moment for me when he's all like, you look exactly the same. What you were supposed
It's
to
funny
get better.
like the mom's always like, I'm so happy to see you, and then dad's like, what am
I
what
paid
am
all
I
this
paying
money.
for?
This has got to be an expensive camp.
I
too.
did not send you
yeah.
to go-kart camp.
Yeah.
This is an expensive camp, without a doubt.
And we get to watch the video of the propaganda from Pat
Right.
and his team where they're eating rats and you know, I love how they have Lars, you know, his German accent, like welcome to
killing
Camp
them.
Hell, and they're just like
Killing the blob.
they're killing the blob, and he's doing this German yell. That was kind of that was funny to me how they did that. And then Ben Stiller escapes by tricking Philip with a Hershey kiss that he was never given. And he's just
He made it from the tinfoil.
I know, but he was, but like Philip never bridged. Like I never gave him a Hershey kiss.
Right.
I would have eaten the Hershey kiss before he gotten it, you know. And it's just like,
you wanted it would smooth.
oh no, it fell down. And Philip's like, yeah, yeah. So it was, you know, like Ben Stiller escapes, and then he has this dramatic like villain meltdown where he's smashing glass and
Oh, the cinematography
was a bit over the
no,
top.
no. But the villain was a bit over the top. It's a great scene. And then he jumps down from the second story, and I love it. He's just like, ow.
And when you watch it, you're like, oh, I've seen this character so many times in Ben Stiller's
Oh yeah,
films. And so it's kind of fun to see
classic
come out.
Ben Stiller character. He's throwing pitchers of glass on the ground, walking on it. Ah.
I'm too strong, and you're so
and
weak.
you're so weak.
I can't help when I'm walking on rocks in my backyard
Yeah.
without shoes, and I'm like, I'm so strong. I've been doing that since a kid, just because of that. Like, I'm stronger than you. I don't need shoes. The movie has had such an impact after watching. It's like, oh my gosh, I do all these
Yeah.
things because of this film
Yeah.
of a movie about fat kids in a fat camp that don't want to lose weight. Yeah, Ben Stiller confronts Gerald and gets punched by his dad, and it
Yeah.
ends, and Pat becomes the camp
becomes-
counselor, and then they have the Apache relay.
And that's where you can just turn off the movie.
You can. It's cutesy at
There's
that point.
some
It becomes
fun
very
parts.
Disney.
There's some fun gags in there.
It was
but-
funny, like when I was like pausing on Disney Plus the movie, and they like will show sometimes like a scene from the movie, like on the pause, like if you're going back to the movie, and it's the one of the kids with the trophy, and I was like, spoilers.
I never caught that. Yeah, it was. They do the relay. Gerald becomes the driver, the kid who's never driven go-karts.
Well, it's fun though because like there's some aspects that they hint at throughout the movie, like
Captain.
well, there's Captain. There's the whole shaving the balloon
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he was shaving. He's like, how long have you been shaving? And so like they paid that off.
Yeah.
They're like, you know,
They're
like, that was
really good at dropping hints throughout the movie
to
to
pay
have it
things
flow.
off.
They do a good job with that. I say when they asked about name 5 vice presidents, after that I always made sure I knew
What
five
five
vice
vice
presidents because I didn't want to be the dumb jock in that.
Have
That
be
way.
outshined by the
The
British
British kid.
Yeah.
you Americans are so uncultured.
Yeah, so the
Nine
Camp
is-
Hope wins.
Nine is the answer. No, 9 is German for no. Love that line.
Yeah, the Gerald wins. He uses the motor propeller to
From the lawnmower.
yeah. It looked
fly.
like I thought it came from the boat that they stole the motor
Oh,
from.
that's probably
Another
what it
good
was.
message. It's okay to
Yeah.
steal from Camp MVP, and
Well, they're okay. Camp MVP is okay with vandalizing, so
Yeah.
I think
I called
Tit
it.
for tat.
I
There
thought
was,
they
like,
were just
one
doing
part-
motivational like writing on the wall for them.
okay.
There was one part where
You
like
stink.
Camp
Yeah.
Maybe
Camp
they do.
MVP is on the speedboat, and they have like the megaphone, and they're like, "You stink, you stink," but they're like saying it multiple times, but smaller, like voice.
Well, and the funny thing
You
is,
have to graduate. Like
you know who's driving the boat? The camp counselor.
Oh, yeah,
no.
he's a bully.
Yeah.
Like it's just like crazy that like that's probably like he's like the weirdest villain of the movie.
He's a bully. Yeah, the bully villain.
He's like, I'm going out of my way to make fun of fat kids at fat camp.
He's there to make them better.
Like, And I'm going to
Shane.
I'm going to encourage the other kids to join me. Like that was probably the weirdest villain of the movie was the camp MVP coach to me.
I think that's like a product of like the highly competitive like
And that was the 90s.
Gen X,
That was a
baby
90s,
boomer, like where their dads or their parents were really like hard on them and be like, nope, survival of the fittest. You know,
Yeah.
he got that kind of raising. The patch relay ends and they win. I liked how they threw the cup in the water. It wasn't about the cup.
It's all
Yeah.
this cup. It's all about the cup, huh?
Yeah,
We'll airmail it. And the fact that like
he threw it really far.
5 people started swimming in the lake for that. If I saw like one person swim in the lake, I'm like, he's got it.
I'm good.
He's got it.
Unless they can't swim, then I'm like, I think someone needs to save him.
Why did they jump in the water?
They really wanted that trophy.
Wanted that trophy. All right. Thoughts as an adult watching this film? What were some messages where you're like, that was kind of mixed? You heard my qualms about Nurse Julie.
Yeah, I didn't.
she's just
I
a
didn't, I
walking
didn't
red flag.
necessarily have those same qualms, but I guess you point them out. Now I won't look at Nurse Julie again. the
We had a
same
Nurse
way
Julie. She did not look like her growing up.
again. Yeah, we did have a Nurse Julie, didn't we? I forgot about that.
I had like the overall message where kids will come here to this camp and then they don't like the counselor or being pushed, that they will rebel and then lead them. It's okay to kidnap.
Yeah, it's okay.
The overall message
It's a little muddled.
is but they have fun.
And that's
I
what
think
this movie is.
that's the message.
The message is just have fun with this.
This is a fun movie. Don't get bogged down in the details.
Yeah,
But
Enjoy the ride.
it's hard not to, like we said, like, what? That was weird. Like, no, that wouldn't happen. So that's why I said, as an adult, you can't watch it with that mentality.
You can't watch it with it's the same thing with like Adam Sandler movies. You can't watch an Adam Sandler movie going, I'm looking forward to this masterpiece of film. No, you're gonna watch a stupid movie with a bunch of silly jokes. That's
It's true.
what this is.
Physical comedy. Yeah. And it's, it was directed by what was his name? Ben Stills. And he's done a lot of, he was in Wedding Singer. You'll know him because he was Julia's fiance's friend. At the wedding meetup, and you're like, he confronts Adam Sandler and he goes, "Oh, you're the wedding singer where she left you." And Adam Sandler's all like, "Yeah, do you want to talk about my dead grandma or my dead parents?" And he's like, "Why would I want to talk about that? I don't know." Like, he's that's him. And so he's done a lot of Adam Sandler films, and he did the Mighty Duck films. This was just his first directing like film. So it was.
For a first film, I think he did.
I think he did pretty
I think
good
he
for a
did
comedy
good.
for kids. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of a lost art for.
I agree.
That
for
30
Hollywood.
30 years later, you're still talking about it.
It was
fondly?
impactful. It was quite effective. I hold it dear.
It still
it's-
holds
it's-
up. It doesn't. I wouldn't say like. There's maybe a couple aspects that I would say doesn't age well, but I think for the most part, the movie ages really well.
Yeah. I mean, I caught my interest, the whole time except for when, like, the Apache relay, I was like, Ben Stiller's gone. I'm done.
It has that. It kind of like reminds me of Major Payne, where you're
Yeah.
like, the movie's great, and then the Major Payne's like, I'm gonna come back, and then they all start working together, and you're like, oh, this stinks.
Yeah.
Where's the comedy of
Right.
like people working towards their goal? I like the comedy of fighting against the goal.
Right.
That was, I kind of got that vibe. But again, that may have been just how they wrote stories back then. But yeah, so reflecting on it, the art of comedies for kids like this is kind of lost in Hollywood.
I agree. They
It's overacting.
yeah.
It's
is.
just
Overacting,
obnoxious.
overthinking about the overall story, and, like, oh, this would be bad
They
for
focus
kids.
too hard on the message
Yeah.
and not on the journey. The
Yeah,
journey is
obviously
what's
the
fun.
message was kind of muddled in this one. We didn't
Correct.
think about that.
but we don't care about that. That's not
No.
why we like the movie.
no. Well,
We
as a
liked-
kid, you were.
we
I-
liked the jokes. We liked the journey. We loved the story that led us. We don't care about the ending. We just cared about how we got there.
Yeah.
It's like fun to see like the witty kids like have witty responses and such because like as a kid like I would never do that, but it's fun to see.
As I was watching, I was like, man, these guys are quick like this, and I go like, okay, I must have been inspired by these kids to like have these quick responses for these.
So you can blame Heavyweight's dad for
my obnoxiousness. No, I think that
No,
was
it was there
way
long
before.
before that.
I guarantee
it
I was like,
way before.
nah, it was it's in my blood. No movie can do that. It was a fun movie. I would say it's definitely in the top 5 growing up as a kid. I'm gonna give it 3 Mickey bars as a nostalgia for me as an adult. And if you're coming at it logically, it's only 2 because like it's
okay.
For me, it's like if you're coming at it like with it trying to make sense, it's not going to do that. But you'll be
No.
entertained
Yeah.
because it's like it's hard for me to separate myself from like being an adult and who's never seen it without having my childhood heavily influence it.
Okay.
So I have it at 3.
I agree. I'd probably give it a solid 3. I would watch it again.
Yeah, it's probably the first time I've watched it in probably 15 years.
Really?
Yeah, I don't watch it regularly.
Wow. Okay.
Well, you watched it enough. You pretty well had it memorized.
I did. I was
Yeah.
watching it. My wife's like, "You just watched it yesterday," and I was like, "Oh no!" It awoke the beast inside
Yep,
that like
it
knew
does.
all the lines.
Mm-hmm.
What do you give it, Peter?
Oh, I'm a 5.
You're 5.
This is. I will watch this any time of day. If it's on, well, nobody's gonna put it on.
No
but
one puts
me.
it on. That's
No
the
one's gonna
problem.
put it on but me. But I will have no problem. Like, if I want to put on a movie just to like relax and just like I have no qualms with like, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I will watch it 1,000 more times. I still laugh at it. The jokes still hold up. I love it. It's a 5 for me.
All right, Father Yoda, what do you give it?
I think I'll watch it again in 30 years. You know, I think it deserves
Well,
that.
we're gonna have a viewing party. We're gonna see Father Yodeler watch his.
His 90th birthday. He's like 95. You said you'd watch it. And he's like, oh, my last moments on this planet, and I'm watching The Blob. Do 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 do. Boop 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 boop.
But I think Disneyland should honor a snack bar naming it Heavyweights. I think it should.
Just have Tim the human s'more.
Just fill it with junk food and
Salami
just
sticks.
what it is, you know.
Salami Sam. Oh, we didn't even do the best line.
Yeah.
When Ben Stiller finds the treasure trove and he's like, "Look at this candy treasure! Oh, look, a deli meat!" Every time I find a deli meat at the I go like, I'll pick it up and you're like, "Oh, look, a deli meat!"
I love it when
I'm
you
waiting
like
for-
quote things and no one knows the reference.
But you're so happy to give it at that moment.
Oh yeah,
like
totally.
there's so many like times where I'll be like, he's coming, and they're like, okay.
This is why I'm surprised you gave it so low, because like you just did a deep analysis of the entire movie.
I did, but it's just
and
a
it's all
3.
like-
I'm not going. But the thing is, I'm not going to search after it. That's the thing.
I will.
I only watched it. I picked it because it's the 30th,
'Cause
and I have not watched it in 15 years. And it's
I'll
just
watch it every couple years.
I have a
I'll
hard
put
time
it
now
on.
reaching back into the childhood and watching things and not ruining it.
Sure.
Like my wife watched Cadet Kelly, and she goes, "I wish I never watched that movie." And I go, "Why?" She goes, "It
It's
ruined."
terrible.
It doesn't
my,
hold up.
It goes, it
doesn't.
ruined my
It's
childhood. I
terrible.
loved that movie as a kid, and I watched it as an adult, and it ruined it. And that spooks me because I've had that where you watch something and you're like, man, this really sucks. But this doesn't suck.
I was for sure thinking this was going to be the episode Jackie got her revenge on us, where she's all like, 1, because it's horrible.
No, I don't.
No.
I don't think it's horrible.
I think I was just talking about your Into the Woods
Oh.
episode where we ripped into
I am honest in my reviews, unlike others.
I've always been honest. My clowning is truly genuine. Comes from the heart. I don't know where else it would come from. But yeah, it's. I know you think I would give it a 5, but it's one of those things I don't search after it. A 5 is like one of those like I will stop whatever I'm doing.
Yep.
4 is I'm looking for it, and 3 is like I may watch it again. 2 is like no, and 1 is like throw it in the vault. Don't open it again. You can burn it. Like that's
Black Hole? Is that
Black Hole was funny though.
They ranked Black Hole higher than Into the Woods.
Oh.
Yeah, we did. We did. But because it's so bad, it's good.
Yes.
That's why. Into the Woods was
save
it's
me.
so bad that it's
Okay, we don't
just
need to
bad.
bring up Into the Woods.
I want to dig up that dead horse and beat it some more.
Are you dead yet? Oh, yeah, that's right. You are.
No,
I buried
it
you.
was the cow. It was
It's the cow. That's right. It's the cow. It's the cow.
Oh, poor Jackie.
Uh,
So yeah. I think we all say if you watched it in the 90s, watch it again. It'll make you laugh. It's like watching Mighty Ducks. It's got some
Yeah.
good one-liners. It'll make you chuckle. There's parts where you'll skip through going, oh yeah, I remember this. This is boring. This doesn't do anything
Yeah.
for me. And then you could still enjoy it.
And then you don't need to watch it again till 2055.
Till 2055, yes. And the 60th anniversary. Any last quotes from the movie that come to mind?
Last quotes. I don't know. We quoted a lot of them. I don't know. I think we hit most of the good
we
ones.
hit all the good ones.
Yeah, this is a great movie. Recommend it. If give us your thoughts on this movie, Heavyweights. Did you see it? Did you love it as a kid? Did it inspire you to, put pillows in your shirt and
Yes.
and jump off the couch as if it was the Blob? It certainly did for us. I know that was very specific.
I don't know if I did that because I wanted to be on the Blob. I think I just did that because it was fun.
But it inspired us for that fun. But yeah, let us know if you've seen it, how it inspired you. What lines do you do in the middle of the deli aisle at the grocery store? At our email, matterhornyolers@gmail.com, and our many different social medias. With that being said, Auf Wiedersehen. Body. Don't worry, I got them on the body system.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.